at 8 a.m. We mentioned Gus Stark, who is the LSU photographer. I've got him inside of the weekend winners after a couple of moments that he captured on Saturday night, including Cade York's 57-yard game winner that ultimately gave LSU the victory on Saturday night as LSU wins 37-34 versus Florida. The surprising score of the college football weekend. Joey Galloway got a ton of run on Saturday on College Football Live for laughing in the face of this game when asked to predict what the score and outcome was going to be between Florida and LSU. He merely chuckled and gave a laugh into the television camera that played onto social media and played on Twitter. If you saw LSU's reaction after the game, a lot of laughing all night in Gainesville. A lot of the headlines were about laughing. But I thought that the headline that won was the Advocates yesterday, and it come to find out it was Amy Just who was the brains behind it. But the headline for the Advocate on Sunday morning was titled "Heart and Soul, SOLE."
Yeah. I mean, the things you could have written are LSU, the shoe in. Like, yes, the shoe puns are out of control. Kind of what you're alluding to there with Galloway, though. I mean, let's be honest. We were all Joey Galloway.
For sure.
Nobody's sitting here thinking like that. Nobody in this room believed that LSU really had any shot at winning on Saturday. But it's why you play the game. It's also why just in a larger kind of zoom out meta conversation, it's why giving Ohio State so much benefit of the doubt is so incredibly frustrating for so many people, because you never know how these things are going to play out. Football is the ultimate meritocracy, right? You control your fate through what happens on the field, through actual merit. No politicking, no positioning yourself, no handshaking. It's all about the actual on the field results. Yeah, no preseason rankings, none of that crap. And this was an LSU team that was in a program that if we think about it, like a stock market, investor confidence had completely crumbled. The price is bottoming out. People are selling, panicking everywhere. Everybody's hopping off board. You had this sort of golden opportunity to maybe get people back on board, but it was such a long shot that nobody even thought it was a realistic possibility. And yet, here they sit, and they did it, and they got it done. And what it means for the program, given the context of where you're at, is pretty invaluable, in my opinion. Remember, we talked to O last week, and we had a pretty hard line of questioning for him, in which he seemed to get a bit upset with us, saying, look, I don't know what you're driving at, but I don't buy it, and saying this team is more together than you're alluding to, all of these other things. Words are fine. Actions speak louder than words. There was not a better rebuttal for our line of questioning, for any feelings, for anything they were hearing last week. There was not a better rebuttal than what you witnessed Saturday night. And we mentioned all the young cats, right? Because a lot of the fear of LSU and the anger right now isn't just about what's going on currently. It's fear for the future. Well, you see that if you can keep this team together and if you can answer some critical questions, you still have a lot of talent. And for many reasons, the future can still be bright and you can get very good immediately yet again. So I love this game for that reason. It just reinforces that you can stamp your feet and whine and complain about how people are talking about you, what they're saying, but ultimately you control the conversation with the on the field results, and LSU took control of that conversation with the most improbable upset since I've been watching LSU football, because as we said, I don't know how many times, if ever, maybe say for a couple Bama games where I've walked into a game thinking that LSU just had no chance.
A 24-point spread.
Yeah, exactly.
And the biggest win in LSU football history as far as defeating the spread as an underdog was when the Pigs Fly game in LSU, Alabama, 1993. And there was so much comparison to that game when you just surfed through social media after the game went final on Saturday night. I mean, if that was the game that pigs flew, this was the game that shoes fly. I mean, everything from the puns that were going back and dating back to that 1993 reference of LSU going in to, I believe it was Birmingham at the time. They played that game in Birmingham and beating LSU, or excuse me, beating Alabama. A lot of comps to that on Saturday night because, I mean, you're right. There was the majority of the feeling within the LSU fan base was Joey Galloway. I mean, it was like, how in the hell is this even going to happen? But I will say this. It did feel like early on in that game that LSU was going to compete. And it was when LSU answered the Florida scoring drive by putting a 12-play scoring drive together of their own and answering a touchdown with a touchdown. And then a pick six by Eli Ricks to take the lead.
Well, I mean, I think, dude, I trace it back to the goal line stand.
Sure.
Because Florida came out there and they were immediately rolling down, and that goal line stand was kind of indicative of how that whole game was going to go, where defensively you weren't going to be dominant. You were going to bend a lot, but you were ultimately going to make the plays that you had to make. You were going to bend but don't break. That was the ultimate bend but don't break performance on Saturday, and it all started with that goal line stand where they showed that fight. I mean, Neil Farrell Jr., and honestly, let's be clear, we'll get into this during T-Bob's Game Takes, LSU won in the trenches. It has been, with these young freshman quarterbacks, it has been the best predictive measure as to whether they will win the game or not. Are they protecting the quarterback? Are they winning that battle? The offensive line won handily and the defensive line won handily. Go watch that 4th and goal lines in and watch Neil Farrell. It is clinic tape, explosive hips, stonewalling linemen, extending, shedding, making the tackle. And it was a level of fight displayed by Farrell there. Would have been real easy on 4th and goal from the 1 to disallow that touchdown, but a level of fight displayed that I think set the tone for the entire night. And then, as you said, Jordy, you come back and Florida, we'll get into this. There were so many times where LSU could have quit. You could have kind of thrown their hands up. And one of those times was, 7 minutes into the game, Florida's had the ball twice. They've gone down the field at will both times. You're losing 7-0, and at that moment, you go on that 12-play drive to score and say, not so fast. So a gritty, tough, wild performance all around, obviously. How about this? Unexpected as well. Bill Connolly, who does the S&P analytics for ESPN. There is something called post-game expectancy, right? The post-game win expectancy. And it's basically, I thought at first it was just like, okay, it's just going to look at the box score, and based off of the numbers, given just a random game, this is your odds of winning. But it goes deeper than that. It combines all of the latest kind of predictive metrics, right? It combines everything like success rate, explosive. Basically, it takes post-game win expectancy. It takes all the most advanced sports analytical math about where you were during that entire game, how that game played out in the context of all of games that have been played and been logged into this system, thousands of games. It tries to basically come out, spit out math on the other side that says, based on all of this and how the game played out, what were the chances that you should have won this game? Because a lot of times, you see a team may rush for like 250 yards. Sure, they should win the game. They don't. LSU had a post-game win expectancy of just 0.6%. So all the most advanced sports analytics in the world say there's a 99.4% chance that you should have lost this game, and yet you somehow found a way. And that is only explained by human variability, right? That is only explained, and that's why ultimate analytics can be predictive on the whole, but when you get into specifics, they'll still miss sometimes because you never know when humans are just going to step up and make the play, or just when a little luck happens your way, right? Like Dwight McLaughlin's foot being an inch above the ground when the ball bounces off his helmet, so that he's not out of bounds when that ball.
Or Jay Ward scooting back into bounds.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like a little bit of luck mixed with a human being just stepping up and making a crazy play.
Got to catch the break.
The analytics are not ever going to love Cade York kicking a 57-yarder. It's
into the fog.
Unreal. 0.6%, but they found a way to get it done. So shout out to his LSU football team. I know this, man. Happiness levels are always a function of expectations, and this was one of the happiest, most fun viewing experiences that we've had in a very long time because our expectations were so low.
The celebration in the fan cave, we watched it with no sound last night. If you watch it with no sound, it's fantastic. Kelly and I watched it with no sound. She's like, what are you watching? I was kind of laughing before we went to sleep. And then, without the sound, all three of y'all watching just eyes glued to the television, no blinking, and to just see the outcome by the reaction inside of the room. I can't believe, first and foremost, that there wasn't anything damaged. There was you've got a couple of 300
pounders. A lot of weight moving
Who's
around.
The blonde?
Alex Anderson. He's also like 6'4" or something.
Right, you've got a couple of 300 pounders bouncing around. I mean, Danny, if you can get a shot of the space between the desk and where you guys are sitting, I mean, it's only about 3 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about 2 feet. And to see that reaction and nothing get damaged is pretty unbelievable.
Hey, we put it all on the line in the fan cave. I would like
look
to
look at the gator chomp with the.
That was our favorite way to mess with Florida back in the way. The gator chomp into the throat slash.
Yeah, I did see a lot of gator chomps from Cade York, but they forgot to slash it.
They forgot to slash. I know.
They forgot to slash it.
Verge
Osbury next.
We'll teach these young cats.
Off the bench with Collada and Tebow.